place. And clearly, whether it's by design or not, the baseball is a little livelier. So then you've gone out and decided to play small ball that year. It seems like a very poor timing. And the other part that is not to the Royals' favor or makes them look bad is really the only way they have good run-scoring games is when they hit home runs. Well, they don't have real power, so that doesn't happen that often, so they don't win very many games. And, losing 2 out of every 3, never winning a series, never even putting a good streak together right now, it gets a little depressing. I have to be honest. You'd rather have the team go out and lose 10 out of 12 and then win 6 out of 7. At least it creates a little excitement, a little fun. But that's not happening right now with the Kansas City Royals. Maybe we'll get a little stretch like that. There's not too many baseball teams that go through an entire season and don't have a really good run at some point. You would think that the Royals would do that, but their timing from an entertainment standpoint isn't very good either because, as I said, here we are at Memorial Day. The Chiefs are doing OTAs, and that holds not that much interest to me. I'll get into that a little bit after the break. But still, the Chiefs are the hot team right now. They have the biggest star in all of football right now. And when you're just playing mundane, losing baseball and doing it in many ways in an uninteresting fashion, that's not good entertainment. It's a shame, and I don't think we in any way thought we'd be here at this point with a second consecutive dreadful season so soon after all the excitement of the mid-2010s. But that's where the Royals are right now, and it makes it kind of difficult. I do this weekend sports wrap every week, and the Royals story doesn't change. Usually even a bad team's narrative changes a little bit. The Royals kind of has a similarity week after week after week that's kind of difficult to discuss, and as I said, a little bit depressing. There's some interesting notes and quotes and things that are going on and topics that popped up in bullet point fashion. We'll deal with some of those coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
I was duped, and I recommend you be next. For better or worse, the ultra-realistic impression of me sits now in my wife's office to spook her on a daily basis. So what is Doob? D-O-O-B. It's the keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob, be next. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256. Welcome back. I mentioned that the Chiefs are in OTAs, did it last week, a few more to go, and, you know, I like watching football games. I'm a football fan. Is it my favorite sport? No, it's not, but I am a football fan. But the NFL, to their credit, to their undying credit, has created a landscape where football is a 365-day-a-year sport. And it's not. They only play 16 times that really count. But between things like football practice now, which somehow people are interested in, and goes out and gets covered, and Andy Reid speaks, and Patrick Mahomes speaks, and that's always news these days. NFL draft, and now, of course, it's coming to Kansas City, which is a great coup for Kansas City. I think anybody who has listened to me before knows that I really don't think that the draft is good in-person entertainment. It's a good entertainment on television and radio, lots of information, lots of discussion. But the NFL, again, to its undying credit, has created a phenomenon out of it. They've made an event out of whole cloth almost. And Kansas City's going to get it in 2023, and it's going to be fun. But when you're talking about football practice, I hate to go all Allen Iverson on you, but it's just not much for me. I don't think that you learn much in hearing about so-and-so's in the best shape of his life, which happens over and over again when it's June, and they've got another set of these before training camp comes up. But the NFL does not want to go dark for any length of time, and they don't. Between free agency and then the draft and then OTAs and then a round of OTAs and then training camp, they do not let their sport get out of the spotlight, and the fans crave what they're serving up. I mean, they could have tried this, and if nobody really cared to pay attention to interviews from OTAs, then they might not even have the OTAs, to be honest, or they might cut out one round of them. You know, they have the ones for the rookies at first, and then they're voluntary. People don't have to show, so that creates another storyline sometimes when somebody doesn't show up for them. The Chiefs don't have that situation going on for the most part this time around. Of course, what's one of the biggest stories right now of OTA is the fact that Chris Jones isn't there, and he's the player that is most likely to get a long-term contract, and players use this particular thing, and it's almost an artificial way to create storylines. And it's clever. And football fans can't get enough, and they are just hungry for football news all the time, and any crumb that can be provided, be it Patrick Mahomes walking to the microphone or Sammy Watkins saying that he wants to be a leader this year and play all the games and show the other guys what to do. People can't get enough of it. I can probably get enough of it, but that doesn't really matter. The Chiefs are going to be a big story for years and years and years now, and well, what it does for me is only make me want to get to the fall when it's for football-wise. I like watching football games. This other stuff, not necessarily for me, but I'm certainly in the minority there. Interesting story developed on Tuesday when the number 5 recruit in high school basketball, R.J. Hampton, decided to take a route that only a few people have done in the past, which is to skip college and go play professional basketball for a year somewhere else. He was a Kansas recruit, highly recruited player. There was some whispering that he might go in this direction, and on Tuesday he did announce that, in fact, he was going to do that and go to play in the Australian Professional League for a New Zealand team. And I think that this is something that probably won't happen too many more times because we won't have the same scenario playing it out too many times in the more times, because I think we're going to see high school players get drafted in the NBA, but it's not happening right now. Hampton pointedly said, "It's never been my dream to play college basketball. It's been my dream to play professional basketball, and now I'm going to go play against men and prepare myself. Don't have to deal with the books, don't have to deal with some of the other issues as far as going to college is concerned. Just play basketball, get paid." And we'll see if it probably will work out just fine for him. We've seen a couple of guys do it. Damian Lillard is probably the biggest name who has gone in this direction. But it reminds me of the fact that when you go to the Final Four, you're covering the NCAA tournament, but particularly the Final Four. But reporters, especially ones who haven't done this very often, will try to get players to talk about some of their big Final Four memories or, their college basketball memories from the NCAA tournament from the past. And routinely, players kind of get a lost look in their eyes, and they really don't have one. They've grown up thinking about the league and not thinking about necessarily playing for Duke or for Kansas or for Kentucky. Now, once they get there, do they get caught up in it? Do they see the fans' devotion and all those type of things? Sure they do. And then do they want to win? Yes, they're competitive athletes. But they didn't grow up and can tell you about Bryce Drew's big shot or, Jimmer Fredette or things like that. They seldom come up with stories like that because their thoughts have been the route to the league. And college basketball has been a conduit for that. And are there players who did grow up wanting to play for Old State U? Of course there are. But the large majority you get a blank look on their face when they're asked for some big Final Four memories. And R.J. Hampton doing this kind of reminded me of that as well. So it's another big recruit that Kansas doesn't get. Kansas has had such really relentlessly good news for everything except for high-level recruiting in this offseason as Azubuike's coming back and DeSosa will be back, and that's all been great for the team as itself. The next shoe to drop will be Devon Dotson, and whether he's encouraged by the way his team looks to perhaps pursue another year of college, maybe more than he would. I think a lot of that depends on what he hears, and you don't know somebody's mindset. And I'm sure Devon Dotson, just like R.J. Hampton, enjoys playing for Kansas, but grew up thinking about playing in the NBA. And the route to the NBA is quicker if he doesn't return, and he sees it that way and thinks it's a better thing for him, then he probably won't come back. One thing that is for sure, if he does come back, Kansas is going to have one hell of a team. And there was a time maybe a couple months ago where it didn't necessarily look like Kansas would have their usual powerhouse team. They're always going to be good, but now it looks like they have absolutely the opportunity to be great. Well, it is another interesting week. Maybe somehow in the next week, in the next 7 days, something will happen for the Kansas City Royals that will create some excitement. They'll win 7 games in a row. But you know what? It mostly will be because we'll be talking about their number 1 draft choice, be it Bobby Witt Jr. or somebody else. They have the number 2 pick in the draft, and when next we visit on our Weekend Sports Wrap, that will be concluded. So maybe that will be. But that's almost a little painful for Royals fans. That was where they lay as far as their interest was concerned a decade ago, thinking about the next guy, the next big thing. And instead are watching losing baseball again and paying too much attention to the Major League Baseball draft. Talk to you again next week about all things, right here.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like the law offices of Kenneth McRae, developing a unique strategy for your family law case. Divorce can be civil law, not civil war.